Hello and welcome to Pilates. Today we're going to start today's class seated on our mat. You're not going to need any equipment and you're going to need to come to a cross-legged position here to get going. If you're quite tight in the hips here, you might want to use a pillow just to perch on, but just try to allow your spine here to be nice and long, not holding on to any tension in the hips and being able to open up through the chest. You're going to take an inhale here in through the nose, bring the shoulders up to the ears, and then on the exhale, dropping them back and down. Take an inhale here, and exhale, drop back and down, creating length of spine, and last one here. And then from here, inhale in, and then on the exhale, dropping the chin to the chest. Inhale, right ear to right shoulder, and exhale back down, chin to chest. Inhale here, left ear to shoulder. So just doing half circles here with the head, allowing the neck to lengthen, anchoring the opposite shoulder down to your mat. And last one. Drop the chin to your chest and bring yourself back up to that long, tall seated position. And then we're just going to do some rib circles here. So allow the ribs to come over the legs, curving back to come all the way back around again. And reverse, going back round the other way. And then from here, I'm just going to come side on to show you. We're going to just do some knee drops. So hands come behind you, your feet are going to be wider than your hips, and then you're just going to drop one knee down here, opening up through the front of that hip flexor and changing sides. And then you can just reach the hand across the body here so we get that lovely spinal rotation before we get going in our main section. And then what you can do from there is lift the hips off of the floor, keep the knees on the floor, so we get a deeper stretch here into the side of the body and into the hip flexor. Just breathing naturally here. You can hold that position for however long you want to. If you're feeling a little bit tight, you might want to hold it for a moment longer. Coming to that last one here. And then from here, we're going to go into a quadruped position here. So bringing the knees underneath the hips, the hands underneath the shoulders here. So in our quadruped position, lovely. And then from here, just taking your gaze down in between your hands. And then when you take an inhale here, we're going to go into our cat-cows. So you're dropping the belly button down to the floor, take your gaze forwards. And on the exhale, tucking the tailbone under, gaze comes in between the knees, curving out the back. Inhale to drop here, and exhale. So here we're lengthening through the front of the body. We've got quite a bit of core work coming up, so just making sure that we have length to start off with here. Opening up through those shoulder blades. And last one. Taking an inhale here to come back to your neutral spine here, so long flat back. And then on the exhale, you're going to sit your hips onto your heels. Reach the hands forward, nice long arms. And then when you take your next breath in, we're going to lift the hips away from the heels. Option one here, coming to a half plank. So you take your hips with you and exhale back into the child's pose. Inhale here. Now we're going to add an arm lift. So exhale here to lift one arm up, front raise. Inhale to return. Exhale, coming back onto the heels. Inhale here to lift up. Exhale, changing arms here, and try not to lift or shift those hips too much. Your next option here, if you want it, is to float the knees off the floor. So we're in a full plank here, floating the knees off of the floor as we come into child's pose. That breath pattern here, we are exhaling to come back, inhaling to the plank, exhale to lift, inhale to lower. Minimal movement with the hips here if you can help it. So the purpose of this exercise is connecting breath to movement and strengthening the abdominals. If the knees are floating off the floor, you're going to feel this in those quads as well. Last one here. And then from here, just allow the knees to come down to the floor. Walk the hands in towards you to come into a double kneeling position. And we're going to go into some side bends with one leg long, one leg bent. Option one here, hands are to the side of the head. You take an inhale here to lift up and out of the waist. And an exhale to bring it back into the center. So here we're thinking about strengthening our obliques, lengthening out through that opposite side. Your option two is you're going to lengthen the arms above the head. Same breath pattern here. Inhale to take a side bend, exhale to return. You're going to find that the obliques, the core, is going to have to work that a little bit harder. And I want you to just focus on keeping the distance between the hands the same. Keeping the shoulders down and away. 3 more here. Control as you come back into the center. 2 more. And then on that last one, you can just land the underneath hand here, reaching up through the fingertips. Inhale to prep, and then on the exhale, floating the foot off the floor, lifting the hand up. Inhale here to tap and reach. Exhale to float and lift. Knee is facing forwards here. You're going to start to feel this in the glute. What can always help here if you think of more of a side stretch here as you reach up and over, just to stay nice and light for that underneath arm so we don't get too heavy in this position. 2 more here, and then we're going to keep the leg lifted. Holding the leg lifted here. Inhale here to hold that position, and then on the exhale you're going to bring the hand down, bend the knee in, and then on the inhale here, lengthen away. So here you're really trying to keep the knee lifted. Your option here is to go for a long leg as you carry forwards, and an inhale here to carry it back. So the real challenge here is keeping that height of leg or height of knee. Use the breath here to help you. 2 more. And last one. Hold that leg lifted, pulse the leg up, and for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lengthen the foot down, reaching up and over to the opposite side to then come down, hands in front of you. Relaxing the head down so we're in a half child's pose. And then you can just lift the hips away from the heels and then back down into that position. Ready to go over to the other side, bringing the knees together. Other foot here, straight into second side here. So you've got your option one, hands to the side of the head. Inhale here to lift up and out of the waist. Exhale, back into the center. Feel those obliques wrapping around the waist to bring you back into the middle. Option two, lengthening the arms above the head, in line with the shoulders. Shoulders down and away from the ears. Inhaling in through the nose here, and exhale through the mouth. Lovely, trying not to rush here. Just a couple more, then we're going to land the underneath hand. Taking it down to the mat here, inhale to prepare, and then on the exhale, fingertips up to the ceiling, float that top leg off, and an inhale to reach. Exhale to lift and tap. Sorry, an exhale to lift. Inhale to tap. A bit hard to do everything all at the same time. Lengthening out through the top side body. Lowering and lifting with control. Feel that squeeze of the glutes as you lift this off the floor. And last one here, keep it lifted. Inhale to prep. On the exhale here, we're going to bring the hand down to the floor and then bending the leg, and then inhale here to open. So that is your option one there, keeping the knee lifted. Option two, you're going to keep the leg long. So a slight more bit more of a hamstring stretch here, and you are going to need to switch on those abdominals really to control this movement and not to allow the foot to drop down. So just thinking about height of leg here, try to keep it consistent. Just 2 more here, and then we're pulsing that leg up. And last one. Pulse the leg up here, lift and lift and lift for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower it down, reach out through that side body. Hands come down in front of you for a half child's pose. And then from here you can just lift the hips away and then back down. You should feel a lovely stretch across the inner thighs here as well. And then from here, sit yourself down, feet on the floor, knees are bent. We're going to go into the C curve. So I'll just do your option 1 here, holding behind the backs of the knees. Inhale to sit tall. And then on the exhale here, just tucking the pelvis, sit yourself back and away from the legs. Inhale here to sit up nice and tall. And exhale here to tuck. Inhale to sit tall, and then you can release the hands here to go a little bit further away. So remember, the purpose of this exercise is strengthening the abdominals, and it's called the C curve because that's the shape that we want to think about making with the spine. Okay, we're going to add a forward fold onto this exercise. So you inhale here to sit tall. On the exhale, you're going to forward fold over the legs. Inhale to sit tall. Exhale to come back. Your option here, if you want a lovely hamstring stretch, you lengthen the feet away from you so legs are long. Diving over those legs. And then back into our C curve. Try to think about lengthening the back as you relax over those legs rather than dropping straight down through the knees, so that we aren't just kind of slouching here. Now stick with whatever variation of the C curve that you want. If you want to come with me, we're going to take it into a lie down. So we exhale here to come back and then lie ourselves all the way down onto the floor. We inhale to carry the arms above the head. And then exhale here to roll all the way up. Inhale here to flat back, and then exhale to come over the legs. Inhale to sit tall, and exhale, slowly lower down. Inhale to tap. So we're just trying to iron out any kinks in the spine. Trying to make this movement as smooth as possible. Our last one here. Slowly coming all the way back. Inhale here to tap the fingertips off the head, and then coming down to the mat, lying on your back if you're not already. You're going to bend the legs here, feet flat onto the floor. Your hands are going to come flat down to the floor, and we're going to do a shoulder bridge with a few levels. So we'll work through each level one at a time, and you can decide which one you want to try. So first of all, level 1, inhale to prepare. On the exhale, you're going to tuck the pelvis towards you, weight into the heels, start to lift your hips up to the ceiling, squeeze the glutes, and then inhale here to work through each vertebrae as you come down to the floor. And then exhale here to press yourself up to the ceiling. Careful that those knees aren't knocking inwards. This is your level 1. Your level 2, we exhale to lift up those hips. We inhale here to lift the right leg off of the floor. Exhale to lower the foot down to the floor. Inhale here to lower the hips down. Exhale to lift, and then we do the other side on that inhale. Exhale to lower. Inhale to lower the hips. Now if you're going for this option, just be careful that the opposite hip doesn't take a sudden dip. So you have to really think about pressing the weight into that foot that is on the floor. Keep those hips nice and high. If you have an option 3 here, if you want to give it a go. So we exhale here to lift the hips off of the floor. Inhale, lift the right leg off the floor, keeping it long, lower down to the floor here. On the exhale, inhale to lift up. Exhale to return. And then inhale to lower the hips down. Second side, exhale, lift. Inhale, left leg. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, point to lift. Exhale to return. Inhale, lower. Just a few more reps of whatever variation you're going for. Thinking about keeping those glutes nice and strong, keeping the tummy tight, keeping both hips lifted. And then from here, when you next find that both feet are on the floor, hips are lifted, we're just going to take a few pulses to finish. So you're going to squeeze those glutes up and up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly lowering yourself down onto the floor. And then from here, you're going to lengthen both legs away from you, placing your fingertips on your hip bones. Inhale to prepare, and then on the exhale, you're going to float your right foot off of the floor. So option, well, these are more so variations if you want them. So I'm going to do the exercise with the long leg. If you're feeling quite tight in the backs of the legs, you can do this with a bent leg, and the leg is going to start in a tabletop. So you inhale here to either circle the toe or the knee in towards the midline, and then on the exhale, you're going to bring the foot down, circling all the way to the side and round back to where you started. Inhale to cross over, exhale to come down and around. Now I've asked you to put your fingertips on your hip bones here to try to minimize the movement in those hips. So same concept as the last exercise, pelvic stabilization here, trying to keep as much control here as you can, keeping the tummy nice and tight. And we're working on improving our hip mobility and also our strength within the hips as well. So it doesn't take long to tire out our hip flexor here. This isn't a normal exercise that you'll probably do in the gym, so don't worry if you do start to feel it quite quickly. We're going to reverse that. So we inhale here to come out and away, exhale to come down, in and around. Trying to keep this movement nice and slow. And last one. Whew, and then from here, bring the knee into the chest. And then from here, you're just going to carry the knee over the body here. Take a nice deep rotation of the spine, looking away from that bent leg, opposite shoulder blade on the floor. Bringing that knee back in towards you. And then from here, just bring the nose up to meet the knee. You inhale to prepare. You're going to take 2 short exhales. Bring the knee to the nose. Inhale to change, other side. Option here is to float the long leg off of the floor. And then next, level up. Long legs here. So you're going to get a nice hamstring stretch with a lot of these exercises. If you're feeling stiff, keep the knees bent. You can we are going to do this exercise one more time so you can maybe see how you go. Second side, you might want to lengthen the legs or vice versa. Lowering down with control. Just a couple more. And last set on each side. And then slowly lower both legs down onto the floor. Fingertips back onto the hips, ready to go into our second side with those single leg circles. So we inhale to prepare, and then on the exhale, you're going to float the left leg off the floor. Inhale here to circle the foot towards the midline. Exhale to lower down, out and around. Make sure that opposite hip doesn't lift too much off the floor here. If it's lifting all the way off, you might need to decrease the size of your circle. You can always go for a bent knee here as well if you want to. Just make sure that that heel doesn't drop too close towards the hip, so it is at a tabletop at a 90-degree angle. Notice here how it feels on the second side. It's a little bit harder on this one. You might have slightly more mobility in one hip than the other. You're going to reverse that circle here. So we inhale to open up to the outside, exhale to lower down and around. Last couple. And last one. Bring the knee into the chest here. Oh, and then when you're ready, crossing that leg over, coming into a nice deep rotation, looking away from your knee. Breathing into that stretch. And bring it back in towards you as we go into our single leg pull. So bringing the nose up to meet the knee. Inhale to prepare 2 short exhales. Bring the knee in. Inhale, change. Changing sides. If you can, floating the underneath foot off of the floor. And then if you want to, long legs. Thinking about the little man on the Apple Watch. This is his starring position. Couple more sets here. And last set. Lower the foot down, lower the other foot down. Take a full body stretch, and then from here we're going to flip ourselves over to our front. Just going to shift my mat around here. And then from here, bring in your hands underneath your shoulders. So from here you take an inhale to prepare, and then on the exhale, you're just going to trace your hands in front of you on the floor, just hovering ever so slightly off of the floor and off of your mat, lifting the head and nose up and away from your mat. And then an exhale here to come back in. Sorry, inhale to come back in. So we exhale here to reach away. Inhale to come back in. So we are doing our back extensions here, lifting the upper body off of the floor, and then you can relax it down here as the hands come back underneath the shoulders. Exhale to reach away. Inhale to come back in. Now you can stick with this, or we're going to add a little press up. So inhale here, hands are underneath the shoulders. Option 1 here, you come up to a half plank. So you're on your knees here, pelvis is tucked underneath you, and then you lower down on the inhale. Exhale to reach away. Inhale to come back. Option 2, curl the toes underneath. Exhale to press up. Inhale to lower all the way down with control. And you're reaching forward. Coming back underneath. Might be getting my inhales and my exhales muddled up, but hopefully you guys are going strong. We are exhaling here to reach away. Inhale here, hands underneath the shoulders. Exhale to press away. So lowering down with control, guys. If you're going for your half plank here, keeping that tummy nice and tight. Just a couple more. And then guys, you're going to hold a plank here. So option 1 on your knees. Option 2, coming onto your toes here. You're going to take 10 breaths in this position. So you're inhaling in through the nose, exhale out through the mouth. Our hands are spread here. Think about lengthening out all the way out through the top of the head. If your knees are off the floor, out through the heels. If your knees are on the floor, zipping up that belly button into the spine. Last couple breaths. And then once you've come to that last breath, drop the knees down onto the floor, sitting onto your heels, reach the hands forward, lower the head down. And then you're just going to take your left hand on your right here, stretching out the side of the body. Place the left hand down, right hand over the left. Place the right hand down onto your mat. Start to walk the hands in towards you here. Just to lengthen out through the quads, you can just do some hip lifts in this position. So in a kneeling position here, hands are behind you. Lifting the hips up to the ceiling, opening up through the chest. And slowly lower it down. And then we're just going to finish off with a seated glute stretch. So lengthen the feet out in front of you, and then taking the right leg in towards you, hugging that knee in, sitting up nice and tall. Stay here or tuck the underneath leg in as well here as you take your twist. Just starting to slow the breath down. With every exhale, easing a little bit deeper into that stretch, just giving in to that relaxation. Back into the centre, changing sides. Left leg here crosses over, hug the knee towards you, sitting up nice and tall. Other leg long or tuck it underneath. And so you can bring yourself back round into centre. I'm going to finish where we started in a cross-legged position here, and we're just going to do some curves off the back to finish off. So on the inhale here, lifting your chest up to the ceiling, and an exhale, tuck the chin in, rounding out the back. Inhale here to look up to the ceiling. Exhale here to drop the chin. Inhale, take your gaze up. And just coming back into a neutral position here. Give the shoulders a big squeeze up to the ears, roll them back and down. Hopefully you're feeling nice and lengthened and centered. And we're going to finish it there. Thank you so much for taking the class, and I hope to see you soon.